Happy Sober Sunday morning, guys. I just want to reintroduce myself if you're new here. Perhaps you've been looking for new followers since the TikTok ban. I can help you out. If you're on your sobriety journey, I want to introduce myself and say that I'm 42 years old and I never thought for a freaking second in my life that I would be sober. Never thought there was a chance, never thought I had the option of that. We were raised to believe that alcohol was a necessity pretty much every day, every time you see a friend, every time you see your family, whatever you do, you got to be drinking or it's not fun. Am I right? If that message hits home for you, then you might be ready to start your sobriety journey, or maybe you're already on that journey. Either way, all are welcome here. Congrats on your progress. I was really troubled at the end of my drinking cycle. So probably for about a year, sober curious, which I didn't even know was the term. But what was happening, and this may be the same for you, is you wanted the drink, you had the drink, and then you felt worse, not better. So alcohol was becoming a vicious cycle where it was expected of me, which was actually a pressure I put on myself, but I believed that it was expected, and I believed that the troubles that I felt when I would drink were my problem, and the anxiety, the problem sleeping, the ups and downs with my moods, my feeling of irritation with dealing with like my family and my children and things that should be an enjoyable experience to me were just really getting to me. But I didn't know that I had the choice to stop drinking. Never even considered it. I hear this from a lot of people who follow me as well, that they are so deeply entrenched in the drinking that to them there's no choice. And I truly felt the same way. I felt like it was my destiny to be the old lady drinking a martini at noon, and that would prove that I was fun, and that would prove that I was worthy of love and relationships and community. Now, the funny thing is about getting sober, you have so much fear. You have so much fear about letting go of the alcohol in your life. You are full of anxiety that you're not going to be able to socialize in the same way, that your friends won't feel the same way about you. Perhaps you're even worried that you're going to lose a relationship. Like I was so scared that my husband was no longer going to love me and want to be with me because he and I had always had drinking in common. On our first date when we met, we went out and got absolutely hammered and partied our asses off. And we always prided ourselves on being the super high functioning, up early in the morning, getting it done, never missing our workouts, you know, making that addiction look good. And it did look good. And that's part of the problem, is that people only see what you allow them to see. So I hear a lot of the times like, oh, I never thought you had a drinking problem. Oh, well, like you always, like you looked like you were loving it. You looked like you were having so much fun. Well, that's part of it, right? That's part of it, is the addiction wants you to think that you need it. And to prove to the world how much fun you're having, you might be sharing those parts of your life, whether it's in photos or stories. But deep inside, if it doesn't feel fun anymore and it's no longer serving you, you might have to let that go, because you come to a fork in the path where it isn't fun anymore and it's bringing you more stress and more pain and more regret and more poor choices than it is positive ones. If we look at addiction as like a lifespan, it starts off stage one, it's super fun. You're being experimental. You're going out, you're having a blast. Hangovers are manageable. Your life is manageable. The middle, it's starting to show, it's starting to feel like it's straining your life. It's exhausting. You might be stuck in a cycle of like dragging yourself around, craving things that you didn't necessarily crave before. And then obviously the end of the addiction life cycle is where you are physically addicted to that substance, whatever your drug of choice might be. I was lucky enough to get out in the middle cycle, and I've lost a lot of friends along the way to addiction, as you might have as well. I've lost them to many devastating circumstances, and the common theme was always addiction. And I count myself lucky every single day, as I'm sure you do if you are on your sobriety journey, or maybe you're just starting to have that thought of like, hey, alcohol's no longer serving me. Once you commit to the fact that alcohol is no longer the reward, alcohol is no longer fun, it's no longer serving you, once you confirm that and make the decision, your whole life will shift, because the fear comes before making the decision. The fear comes before letting go. The fear comes before admitting, I have a problem, right? I don't attend AA, but the main thing people say in AA is the first step is admitting you have a problem. 100%. So The power comes when you are able to speak your truth, share your story, and admit to yourself and others eventually, I actually have a problem with alcohol. And once you do, the amount of relief and help and positivity and clarity that you will receive, not necessarily overnight, but you will receive, is astounding. February 2nd will be my 2-year sobriety date. And let me tell you, I never made it more than 2 weeks since discovering the joys of alcohol at 19 years old. Never longer than 2 weeks. When I tried to do a sober October or a sober January, I would try to schedule time off drinking. I couldn't even make it 2 weeks. Not because I was physically addicted, because I mentally was convinced like nothing's going to be fun without alcohol. And I surrounded myself with other people who felt the same way. Of course. So you can't listen to your friends or family or other people in your life because they want you to drink with them. The only person that you need to listen to is that little voice inside that starts saying like, this isn't fun anymore. This is making me feel miserable. And it can take a long time for that voice to come to the surface and for you start hearing that voice, right? You'll be in denial. In some cases, you need to lose a lot. You need to lose friends. You need to lose family. You need to lose possessions. Like, you need to hit rock bottom. But you don't necessarily. You are the one in control. You're the captain of the ship, and you're the only one who can stop. No one can force you to do that. You need to get so uncomfortable in your life that you're willing to make that change. And it's the time leading up to making the actual change that is the worst freaking pain ever and the most discomfort. Like anything in life, it's the season before the change that is the most difficult. Your new job, once you stop drinking, is you become addicted to sobriety. You become addicted to a whole other part of your life and yourself that you didn't even know was possible when you were drowning yourself in drinking. And you don't need to be drinking to blackout. You don't need to be drinking like every single day. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. It doesn't matter. The only difference is alcohol is no longer serving you. You want the drink, you have the drink, you feel worse, not better. That's the difference. I didn't hit rock bottom. There were millions of other times in my life where I drank so heavily, it was ridiculous. The time they actually stopped drinking was not at that extreme, but it felt so bad. I felt so uncomfortable in my skin. I felt so uncomfortable with being obliged to drink, feeling obligated, feeling like I didn't have a choice, feeling so depressed that this was what my life revolved around socially, but feeling like there was no option because my core fear was people wouldn't love me and want to be around me if I wasn't drinking. Let me be the first to tell you, if you're on your sobriety journey or you're sober curious, this is the biggest lie that you have ever been told. We've all been told. Every movie, every TV show since we're children revolves around people partying, drinking, consuming alcohol to be with their friends. Your life will begin in a whole other way when you realize that is a lie and you can start living for yourself and experience the benefits of so many boundless gifts that were there in your body and your mind in the first place. Yeah, you'll have to walk through the pain sober. You'll have to walk through experiences and memories, and things will start to come back to you, and you'll realize a lot of the things in your life were possibly lost during those times of addiction, which is a hard pill to swallow. And I've had people say to me, like, you can't live with regrets. Don't be so hard on yourself. But actually, you can honor that part of yourself that lost those years to heavy drinking. And you might need to. In my case, I absolutely feel a sense of loss of a lot of years that I was really heavily involved with alcohol, even though I made it look great. Even though I achieved other things in my life, I look at those missed opportunities and those years that I abandoned a lot of things that I really wanted to do for alcohol. But that's okay, because once you stop that cycle, you're able to realize, wow, the whole rest of my life will be lived in the most amazing way possible. And every day, you may not have the easiest day of your life, but you'll always be grateful for that path and for saying no and for stopping the self-abuse of alcohol. Hope this video was helpful, and I'm sending you guys all the love.